Hello, this is Brett Emmons, and you are listening to my good buddy, the Leake in Review. He has seen me on the toilet, and we've kissed and done shots and shotgun beers, and he's known me since I've been a toddler.
Now forget everything that you thought you knew from the shed of dreams, the Leake in Review.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for the listens, the loves, the comments, and the shares. It all helps move the needle. And I love hearing from people saying, hey, I caught the show. I got introduced to this new artist. I got introduced to an artist that I maybe hadn't known too much about, and I checked out their sounds, and it's good stuff. I appreciate all of that. If you haven't already done so, hit subscribe, hit like, hit share. That way you will always get the latest episode of the Leake in Review when it's delivered. Now, for those of you who like the country music sounds, and trust me, I know that there's a lot of you who may not, I still invite you to go check out my other podcast, which is called Music Row. It is all about country artists, and there's some great interviews up there. I'm thinking like Stephen Wilson Jr., Dierks Bentley. These guys are all on the program. They're all rolling through. They all want to participate, and I would like you to go check that one out and let me know what you think. All right. On today's show, we speak with Brett Emmons of the Glorious Sons. I've known Brett and the Glorious Sons for years now. And Brett decided he's got so much material, it's time for him to release a solo offering. The solo offering goes under the name John Shambles. New album will be out at the end of April. You can find all kinds of tracks out there on the digital service providers. Album is called Cabin Fever. We talk with Brett Emmons. We talk about the Glorious Sons. We talk about John Shambles. We talk about sitting on the toilet on this episode of the Leake in Review.
Hi, my name is Kim Stockwood. I am a proud Newfoundlander and a Canadian singer-songwriter. In a landscape where many lack access to health benefits or employee assistance programs, the Unison Fund serves as a lifeline of hope for musicians and music industry professionals facing medical emergencies or mental health challenges. To learn more about Unison and their programs, please visit unisonfund.ca.
Hello, this is Brett Emmons, and you are listening to my good buddy, the Leake in Review.
When I first heard that you were releasing a solo album, I said the same thing that I say with any band who has an artist in the band who goes off to do a side project or a solo album. Oh, God. Because it could mean the end of the band. And I'm sure no matter what the band is saying, some parts of the band are going, this is the end of the band, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe like in their deepest... Oh, sorry. Maybe like... Sorry. You want me to hold it in a normal...
I want you to hold the microphone like you were talking on the microphone.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I will.
Yeah. That's so unprofessional of me. I apologize. Brett Emmons, otherwise known as John Shambles, I guess for today. But Glorious Sons is where we met back in those moments so many years ago. And I have so many wild memories of hanging out with you. Like anytime Team Canada is playing any sort of hockey, I think about you and the band. I think about us being in Vancouver in the suite where they brought in all the booze, but there's no one serving you the booze, and it's just unsupervised maniacs. And if it wasn't for you, I would have never shotgunned a beer inside a luxury suite. And just one of the many wonderful memories
I'm glad
that I have with you, Brett, and the band Glorious Sons. Now, John Shambles, when I heard that this was happening, I thought, oh God. Then I listened to it and I went, holy smokes, this makes sense. You can't, John Shambles, the music, cannot be part of the Glorious Sons world. And I think that that's a real hard thing for a lot of artists even figure out themselves.
Yeah.
So when did you come to the conclusion that I can do this as a side thing? Or maybe were you thinking about some of this music, you were bringing it to the band and going, hey, what do you think? And were they saying, no, that's not a Glorious Son song?
You know what? Actually, some of them I'd brought to the band over the years, but they just never panned out. And you just can kind of feel, you know, there's no magic being kind of created when you bring them. And you know the song's good, but, you know, for reasons like I had more involved guitar parts, stuff like that, you're kind of sucking the energy out of everybody else's ability to create.
You're saying with John Shambles, you have more involved guitar.
With John Shambles, yeah, I play the guitar a lot more.
Yeah.
And when I was bringing them into the band, some of these songs that are John Shambles songs, to try with the Sons, there wasn't enough room for everybody. So it was just kind of making a song that was overcooked. And I just, instead of like trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to become a solo artist or something, I just knew that I had to just release music. I didn't want to wait, you know, to get records for people's, sorry, I didn't want to wait for people to be available. I didn't want to, you know, just let songs die on a vine over the years. I love to work. That's what I do.
When did you get that motor? Because I don't think you always had a love to work motor in you. You had a lot more, I love to hang out. I love to be with friends. I love to sell shoes.
That's kind of like the way that I guess people would see me during those early days in social occasions. But I was always just playing at home. And like if you were on a tour bus with me, I was always playing. I was always writing. So,
and scholastically did very well as well. Like you were
relatively okay.
You were a good student when you applied yourself
in some things. Yeah, I mean, I was a good English student. I liked books and shit, and but I also flunked university. Like so.
Well, that has nothing to do with you being learned. It probably has everything to do with you being out late at nighted.
Yeah. That's fair. Pretty much university, I played pool and drank beer and
smoked dope.
Yeah,
and everything else.
Yeah. But yeah, I find it funny that you say like, when did you get that motor? But it's always been there. It's just, I guess nowadays I don't really drink as much. I don't party as much because I can't really handle it. It doesn't do much for me anymore.
So were these songs kind of, you had a couple that have been before the Glorious Sons. Was the rest, when you made the decision, I'm going to release these, was it that at that moment where you're like, okay, I need to then write 6 or 7 more to add, or they were all there already?
There's so many songs. Like, that's ridiculous. They weren't all there already, but it's more, I start organizing my brain a little bit. Like, what do I want to say? Like, what am I trying to say with this song or this song, and why is that even worth releasing? Like, what's the point here? Because I don't know why, but my brain plays these tricks on me sometimes where I just won't feel like things, like there's no point in just putting shit out into the world, which I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't see that way, but I just have this insecurity that when I'm working on an album or working on music, it's kind of got to be for a reason. Like, I have to be saying something, or I have to have something developed that is a little bit newer, you know, say tonally or whatever, to even kind of put it out into the world. And I know that's not really a good or healthy thing, but it's just kind of the way my brain works.
Is John Shambles the more vulnerable side of Brett Emmons?
I guess so. Young Beauties and Fools is pretty vulnerable. Like, Glory's pretty vulnerable, but I think this is maybe like a step more introspective than that even. So, yeah, I guess.
And is that maybe because, maybe I'm just reading into it because it is more, it's not that driving guitar. It is more acoustic, but it's also, I think the songs are breathing a little bit more.
Yeah.
Giving yourself a little bit more of a pace.
Yeah.
Is this building on fire?
Building on fire. Is this building on fire? Oh. Is this building on fire? Let me search the metaphor.
But great songs on John Shambles.
This building is on fire, my friend.
Great songs. And I have to say, too, that as far as a name goes, calling this project John Shambles, if I had somebody come to me in the streets saying, yeah, you know who John Shambles is, I would think for 2 seconds and I go, do you mean Brett Emmons?
That's awesome.
Because it's I know your dog's name is Shambles and that, but again, back to some of those moments that we've had together over the years. Like, I will think again of the time where we were backstage, I'm in your dressing room and you have the door open and you're sitting on the toilet and you're talking to me and we are seeing eye to eye. Like, we are direct visual, and that is John Shambles.
Yeah.
And so wonderful.
Quite imperfect.
Yeah. But consistent. And that's a beautiful thing. The album, when you said you were worried about waiting for players, you're worried about who's going to be around to produce, when you finally get it together, are you recording this all at home and producing it all at home? Or did you, you went away, because I know you're in Toronto for a little while when we ran into each other around the holidays.
Yeah.
Was it all done at that same time period?
No.
4 months ago?
No, it was like pretty much maybe a 2-year process, actually. It was with Derek Hoffman, who's in the band. And, I could never do this shit on my own. Like, that's one thing about me is I always need a partner.
But you guys in the Sons have all been hands-on with your projects and multiple bands' projects over the years. Yeah. So I find that interesting to say that you can't do it on your own.
Well, even when I'm producing, you don't want me touching any hardware. I can tell you the sound that I want to hear, or I can, give you a reference. I can push a song forward. I can make a song better. But I'm just not. Once you get me into the weeds, I get caught there.
I like that you address that for yourself and recognize that for yourself because I think that there's just as many bands who don't recognize that. And too cool for school, maybe the wrong way to say it, but I think that they do need someone else to go, what about this?
Yeah.
And it could be a miking technique that could change the sound of everything, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I've kind of got, what would you call it? I like feedback.
It's a gift.
Yeah. I enjoy bouncing something off of somebody and then being like, that's fucking sweet. And I also really enjoy when somebody can make a song better. So, that's just kind of the way that I am. It's in me anyways. It's whether I was a songwriter or I was drawing pictures as a kid for my family. I wanted to know what they thought about it. It wasn't always just for me.
So with John Shambles, like I said, I was surprised off the top that you were going down this path, as I am with all bands whose lead vocalist has a side project. But you mentioned that you had a lot of songs. I thought for sure it was only going to be an EP as well. But you went full on for a full album. Does that mean that there are lots of songs that are close for a John Shambles project? Like, is John Shambles Part 2 already kind of being worked on?
I've got half the other album recorded. So I've got half of a second album recorded. And I wanted to have it recorded so that I could release it right after and just do... First one's called Cabin Fever. Second one's called Cabin Fervor.
I like
and you just release it right after. But we're in the studio with the Glorious Sons and getting ready for this show, and just life isn't permitting me the time for my plans to work out perfectly.
So get me caught up with the Glorious Sons then. Is it because you guys have been together for so long, over a decade of being in the studio together, is that comforting when you go into the studio with those guys still compared to doing the solo thing, John Shambles? Is John Shambles like, oh man, this is so many things, so many factors in the air, whereas you can count on Jay. He's going to deliver A, B, C, and D.
There's so many different pluses and minuses to both ways of recording. Like when I first started releasing John Shambles stuff, or even before release, not having anybody at that point to be like, these are fucking awesome. Like you're kind of just in your head. Derek's gone on to work on other projects. You can talk to Jason, but he's fucking busy too. So you're just like,
by Jason, you mean your manager?
Yeah. And so I'm waking up and I'm just kind of thinking like, what have I done? Like I'm fucking crazy. Why would I want anybody to hear, there'd be certain lyrics that I just go over about like, dude, what have you done? As soon as I'd wake up in the morning. And
there's some great lyrics on this album.
Thank you. But you would just, you know what I'm saying? Like you just feel like you're kind of like crazy. It's kind of, you feel like you're putting out a side of yourself to the world that you kind of wish you just kind of kept up in your bedroom somewhere, locked away.
Well, maybe that's that vulnerability side of it, right?
Yeah.
Putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But you're also, when you say cabin fever, you are in the cabin.
Yeah.
Like you're off the grid you're as close to off the grid as you can be, essentially.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not really off the grid. Like, I have internet.
Sure, there's power. There's
I'm not
power.
running solar panels off the.
But you're not walking out your front door and going to grab a coffee.
No.
So the populace, the congestion, it's not there. There's
no.
You really can be left alone with your own thoughts.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's still a thing that. That's hard to get used to be honest. Especially as somebody who I would say I'm like an extrovert generally. When you move to the country and you kind of slowly become an introvert over 5 or 6 years of isolation, it kind of, you're changed and, it's just kind of growing up, I guess. And, the party's over.
Well, the party's not over. The party has just moved to a more VIP.
Yeah, VIP. Yeah.
It's not a party all the time. It's a select scheduled engagement. It's a ticketed event.
Yeah.
And you're more selective as to who you're going to be with. The idea of you, again, running through the Vancouver bar, making out with the guy that you didn't know a minute earlier, and I don't think you were making out with him.
I think I just kissed him on the cheek, but I got in big trouble for it.
You got kicked out of the bar.
Which is not good behavior.
But then there's the other side on that same trip again. So many great moments from that trip. We spent so much time together, but you went out to the Adidas store and came back with that all orange Adidas tracksuit. Stunning. Like, I hope you still have that.
I think that's just mental health illness exposed to the world for everybody to see. Like that time in my life was so fast paced. And at
2009, things were exploding.
At some point, I just let go and just kind of, said fuck it about everything. And I don't think that there's very small ramifications, but they exist kind of in your mind always.
Yeah.
I don't think they caught up to me until much later. And that was kind of COVID, time away. You can't believe that, you were that drunk or whatever. It's just kind of like, it was
when
a
it's
wild
harmless
time.
little fun.
Yeah.
It's all right. But I guess there's the problem that it could change to someone could get harmed.
Well, no, you get in fights with your brother and all this stuff. And, you make a,
like a physical fight with your brother?
We've been in fights, yeah.
Well, that was the one thing that I always hated brothers for.
Yeah.
When I was going through school and that, because the brothers were constantly in combat training. Whether they knew it or not.
Yeah.
So then you would get into a wrestling match with somebody and they would launch you 50 feet because they had so much more strength.
Jay's way stronger than me. Yeah.
Is he still running every day?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You never took up the run?
No, I walk. How
long do you walk with your dogs every day?
Quite a while. Like,
would you say an hour?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm at least 5 miles basically a day.
Are you taking your phone with you to record ideas? Because I'm guessing
always
your brain is getting so relaxed you're coming up with song ideas.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be Landmines or it's going to be New Friends. You know, the line, what is the line in New Friends where we don't shake, we hug?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, hugging is new since the 2000s. Pre-2000, I don't think there was a hug.
Before, right?
I don't think there was a hug.
Well, that's kind of the weird thing about it is when you think about like your parents' friends and stuff, like I think they were a lot less close in that way.
They had orgies all the time.
Behind closed doors.
But no hugging
the
public.
Handshaking and not the hugging probably made the orgies much more fun and dangerous.
I'll, you know, you're going to be in Winnipeg on this upcoming tour. I'm going to connect you with my parents.
Okay.
You can go get the band to stay at the family home, and you can bring up these conversations. I'm not saying they're going to bring you into a shoot.
Okay.
Because they don't film anymore.
Okay. Okay. I can't wait. They're freaky people.
I'm putting out this to you and friends. Anybody who wants to stay in Winnipeg, you drop on by.
What are their names?
Bill and Leslie.
Bill and Leslie. All right.
They got a dog named.
Freaks.
They got a dog named Holly, I think.
Okay.
Because it was changing. The dog's name was changing for some reason.
Probably they adopted it or something. And
exactly.
Yeah.
The dog was at 9 months.
Yeah.
They didn't like the 9-month name.
Yeah.
Now they gave it the new name, and now the dog doesn't come, it doesn't obey, and it pisses in the house.
I've seen that. Yep.
So stick with the name.
Yeah.
Is maybe
It's
a little
just
bit
a
of the
name.
messaging.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap this with the idea of you will have a follow-up to an album that is coming out in April for John Shambles' Cabin Fever, maybe by end of 2026.
Oh, yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Obviously. I got to. Like, it's just got to happen.
When does the Glorious Sons come with their material?
Fucking sooner than people even think. Like, we're ripping right now.
I've seen some studio stuff.
Yeah.
You're letting, again, being vulnerable. You guys are putting stuff up on social that is captivating to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm really engaged with what you're doing, especially talking about you will not play these songs for your kids. It's something that I just recently saw. Not the ones that you guys are recording. We're talking about other famous songs that have been released. And I think, you know what, that is a real sign of maturity on your part, Brett.
Not letting my kids listen to Sandstorm.
You are not allowed to listen to the following catalog, which may, though, it's like telling your kids don't smoke. It may turn them into
backlash. Yeah.
They might just turn around one day and do it all.
Yeah, it'll just be like the Shrek song.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
I know you got to take the stage, and I'm just going to throw this out to you. The next time you're here, we do this in the Shed of Dreams.
I would love to. All right.
Congratulations on the new album, John Shambles. Brett Emmons is the man behind the band, the artist, John Shambles. Cabin Fever. It is good.
Thanks, Leake.
Good job, man.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for doing this.
All right, man.
Now forget everything that you thought you knew from the shed.